What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of the Voice in the Podcast. It's your guy, Marno, who you How you doing today, man?
Doing good. How are you?
Uh, Overall, I would say it's been an interesting 48 hours. I might say like a lot of stuff been happening NBA wise, but like overall, I mean, we're getting into like the dog days of the NBA, where like we're just waiting like like this month of April. Don't have it back. Like this month of April, we're just pretty much like just expected to go quickly. Cause like we just want to get to May where like the real action begins. So like this last month is legitimately like the month in which like teams are gonna have to start making their playoff push. You have to
Yeah.
start really to get the rapport. So like this is the time in which like teams just gotta amper down and start to play well. So like in terms of, I don't know, have you seen I don't know if you've seen the Denver Nuggets, man, but they've been just as advertised because that was a big, like the Aaron Gordon move for them. I really looked at it as a big move. Did I look at it as kind of like a one more piece away type of move? No, but I looked at it as a good move because they lost Jerry and Grant in the offseason. He went to Detroit, so they needed like another wing defender, like another like that guy, like defender. So when they got Aaron Gordon, I'm like, okay, that's good. I think Aaron Gordon. I look at him more for the Nuggets as a defensive guy, that the guy that they really need. And so what's been your first impressions of the Nuggets so far, concerning how many games they played?
I think I think they're in a pretty good position right now. I mean, they could get the offense like going a little more, but the but I think they're in a good position to keep their place and go on to the playoffs. Uh, defense wise, they could have some improvements. Like they already got that addition with Aaron Gordon. The defense could be better, so it can go in a good direction for them.
Okay, so okay, we're gonna do a little comparison then. Would you take them over the Suns?
I don't think so. I don't
Oh,
think
you're going
so.
with the Suns.
I think yeah, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Honestly.
Would you take them over the Jazz?
Nah, the Jazz are just like, man, I don't even know. They're surprising me. But the Jazz, like, I would take the Jazz over anyone right now.
Wait, so wait.
Oh, okay, not anyone, anyone.
I was about to
You know
get
what
you. I
you
was
know
about
what
to
I
get you.
mean.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but they're
So
rolling.
okay, so you think the Jazz are so between the Nuggets and the Jazz, you're taking the Jazz,
Yeah,
and between the Nuggets and the Suns, you're taking the Suns.
yeah, for sure.
Boy, you are ridiculous. First of
I'm
all,
just saying, man.
no, look.
Like,
Now the Jazz, people think that the Jazz, like the way they're shooting the ball, and I don't know exactly what it is, but it's been like that all year long. Like they've been shooting the
yeah,
ball at a high clip. Like the Jazz shooting is legit now. Like, I don't think people understand. Like they have like Donovich and Mike Conley, had Donovan Mitchell, um,
yeah,
Royce O'Neal, who was not considered a great 3-point shooter, really was was known for like his defense, and he's starting to improve his three as well. Bogdanovich, Jordan Clarkson, like me, like they
sixth
have
man of the
about
year right there.
7 or 8 guys, like are they're
Yeah,
shooting the three ball really well. Right? Why is it because like they have multiple ball movers. Like Joe Ingles can get to the paint,
mm,
Bogdanovich can get to the paint, Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, like they have guys. And then obviously you have to worry about Rudy Gobert. Now is Rudy Gobert like as big as a like is he really like that legit this and that? No, but he can be a power free because he's a
yeah,
vertical lock, right? And then you have to worry about the ball handler, and then you have to also worry about the kid. So if you're a defense, then you're kind of put in that position. It's kind of like, what do we do? Like the Jazz run. Like it'll be really interesting to see who they match up with because I think obviously they're putting an emphasis on getting that number one seed. But I'm just like, if you're a Jazz fan, it would just be pain if like the Lakers just continue to go down and they felt like eighth and then you had them in the first round with the healthy LeBron and AD.
oh yeah,
That would just be painful
yeah, for sure.
for them. It would just wouldn't be great. But Yeah. Getting back to your point, first of all, no, I'm not taking them over the Nuggets. Like we were, Denver Nuggets are they've been legit, but the problem is like, what's their ceiling? Like I've always wondered that about the Denver Nuggets. It's like, especially last year in the Western Conference Finals in the bubble, and how they just shocked the world and they beat the Clippers. When maybe with the exception of Nuggets fans, no one really saw that happen. So I think now with the Denver Nuggets, their team in terms of the future, like they have great pieces for the future. Like they're like I looked at them as a team that's gonna contend in like the next 3 to 4 years. I didn't look at them as contending right now. And it's not because they have a bad team, it's because like it's long term, because like the Lakers and the Clippers, like teams who are older but like have more experience or like in the chain have won championships are the teams that are trying to win it right now, who have their
Yeah.
best window right now. So that's always what I looked at it as. But no, the Nuggets, like, for me, getting Aaron Gordon was always a big piece to me because, like, I think Aaron Gordon, especially with Jokic and Murray, like that attention, he can just, he's going to get a lot of open looks. He's going to get a lot of lob passes. So, like, he's going to get a lot of open shots just from Jokic and Murray. But I think the biggest thing with the Denver Nuggets, and everyone knows that Nikola Jokic is going to show up. Like, everyone knows that Jokic is going to do this. But the thing with the Denver Nuggets is like Jamal Murray, the
Yeah.
consistency. That is just the only thing. The only reason why Jamal Murray is not really put in like an all-star level, or he's not mentioned in like the top 5 or the top 6 in terms of like guards and so stuff like that, is because of his inconsistency. Like, he'll have a game where like he had one game against Cleveland where he had like 50, and it was a crazy efficiency that he shot it as against the Cavaliers. Like I think he was I shot like 80% from the field. Like it was just crazy. Like he had a great game, but then he'll have 50, he'll have like 40, then he'll have like 45, and then he'll have like the next 4 games, he'll have like 17, 10, 12, 14. Like the thing with Jamal Murray, like the only thing that's really missing from him is just that little bit of consistency. Because Jamal Murray is constantly a roller coaster. He's constantly up and down. But like for Jamal Murray, if he can just keep the ship steady and like just don't be like so out of up and down, then he's he's already good, but he's gonna be even better because all he just has to do pretty much is just be consistent. Just be consistent overall because that's really what they're asking. What we're asking for Jamal Murray, just like can he be consistent? So like that's the only thing. So like I'm not taking the Nuggets over the Jazz. Like I just think like I just think the Nuggets are they're legit. Michael Porter Jr. is doing this thing, and I think now, like obviously getting Aaron Gordon and so and stuff like that. Michael Porter. The thing with Michael Porter Jr. was like everyone knew his potential offensively. It was kind of more defensively. But last year he got exposed in the playoffs, and considering that you're a young player, he's a young player, and that was like his first playoff appearance. Like I don't think that was really his first time seeing like the playoff picture and so and stuff like that. So I think with Michael Porter Jr., everyone knows Michael Porter Jr. seeing is sky high offensively too. He's going to be great for the next upcoming years. You just got to stay healthy. The sky's the limit for him. But the thing with him is just defensively, just improve defensively. That's all overall. That's all that he's got to do, just improve defensively. But yeah, I'm not taking them. Oh, let me see the topics. Like a healthy, like legitimately right now, everyone is healthy, no BS. The Nuggets to me, I would take them over the Jazz, over the Suns. Now the Clippers, I don't know about the Clippers. Lakers, I don't know about the Lakers. I think it would be a dogfight, but I don't know about the Lakers. The Blazers, with Dame and CJ there, you can never count them out, but I'm still taking the Nuggets. The Mavericks, I'm still taking the Nuggets. Like the only teams that I see that legitimately I know can beat them, maybe the Clippers and Lakers. And then the Suns with Chris Paul and D Book. Honestly, the Phoenix Suns are doing their thing right now. They're playing well. Chris Paul, D Book. Like they have a deep team, a good deep team. They have a mix of old and younger guys. Like they have a good rotation going on. And the same with Utah. Like Utah has the same thing with Phoenix right now. Like two very good teams, two very well coached teams with Phoenix and Monty Williams, and with the Jazz with Quinn Snyder, who's been like a good coach for Utah for the last 4 years almost. last 4 years, so he's been good for them. But no, it's just kind of been yeah, it's just kind of been that. Now I don't know. We'll see. We'll see because
Mhm.
like if the playoffs ended, I mean the playoff if the playoffs started right now, the Suns will be facing the Mavericks, the Jazz will be facing the Spurs, um, the Lakers will be facing the Nuggets. So like, in a bracket and stuff like that, we'll see it like how it's gonna look. But like I don't like the Nuggets. People legitimately, everyone knows that the Nuggets won the Western Conference Finals last year. But I think the question is, it's kind of like okay, can they get one more step, which is obviously the NBA finals? Like, can they be a team that's over the top? And I think the Nuggets have everything. I think the Nuggets are fine now. They just needed to make up for the Jerry and Grant departure. They replaced that with Aaron Gordon, so I think that was really good for them. I think the only question for me is just Jamal Murray's consistency. That's just the only thing for me. Is like, can Jamal Murray be consistent? Now, see with Phoenix, DeAndre Ayton, that like he's a young big, so he's like like for him, the playoffs are he's gonna be the first time. It's kind of like, oh, this is how it's played, and this how this and that. And with Utah, obviously you have Rudy Gobert and stuff like that. Rudy Gobert might actually get cooked by Jokic. Jokic might put a clinic on him, but Jokic also might get cooked on the other end because he's not a great defender. And with
Yeah,
that
that's
pick
true.
and roll with Mike Conley and D. Mitch and like multiple
Mhm.
guys, so like you can have that as well. But yeah, I mean, Utah is currently on an 8-game winning streak. Phoenix is currently on a 5-game winning streak. So obviously, those two teams are trying to emphasize like, hey, we have the top two spots and like legitimately, they're doing this thing. So it'll be interesting to see. Man, I would love to see a Jazz versus Suns series. Like that would be fun.
Mhm.
That would be really fun. Like that, and that would be a fun matchup. That would be a fun matchup. Who would you have in that series though, man? Jazz versus Suns. Who would you have in that series?
Jazz versus Suns. I think I still go with the Jazz, mostly
Jazz.
because like their consistency in the shooting. If it keeps up, then the Jazz for sure.
I mean, Phoenix, you got CP3. CP3 over there doing the
Yeah,
same.
that's a great leader right there.
And D Book. I can't
Oh yeah,
forget about D Book.
yeah, yeah.
I forgot to mention D Book, but it's kind of I know what D Book does, and so
Yeah, we know
and
what he can do.
Denver's an interesting team. I really like Denver. Obviously, Michael Malone, they're very well coached. Michael Porter Jr. is starting to play great, and really being like that third option that they've needed. Obviously, Jokic is number one, Jamal Murray's number
Yeah,
two. Michael went in for them. For the Nuggets, is kind of who's going to be that third guy. He never wanted to be Michael Porter Jr. But I think it also takes time because he's a young player, so it kind of takes time for him to be put into that role. But slowly but surely, he's starting to get that now, and he's starting to, like I said, for me, for Michael Porter Jr., like I think for him, it's just kind of like defensively, like just defensively, did he improve on that part? Because like, especially in the playoffs, like for young players, it's kind of like it's not good because like yes, you're gonna get experience, but also it's kind of like, hey, you're facing a dude in like Rondo or CP3 or LeBron who've been in the playoffs for a long time, so it can
yeah.
kind of get that pressure gets to you for younger players especially. That pressure can get to you. So yeah, Denver is like they're currently fifth right now. Like in the West, you just don't. This West is just insane. I mean, it like the separation, like it's just the West is just like this every single
Yeah,
season. Like especially this year, like anything can happen. Like maybe even
mhm.
the Lakers don't make the finals, even with the healthy
Yeah,
LeBron and AD. Maybe even the Brooklyn
yeah,
Nets, considering with all the moves that they made, maybe
yeah.
they make.
For real, you just never know.
You never really know, especially in this season. So it's going to be interesting to see. And so far, I think there hasn't been any postponed games. But thankfully, like there is a couple health and safety protocols where people have been testing positive, but thankfully they haven't really been getting. I think some have gotten symptoms, but they're starting to recover now. But you still have the effects of COVID and stuff like that. But overall, the important thing is just kind of like everyone is still good and okay, even with the
Mhm.
lingering effects of COVID and stuff like that. They're starting to get better. But overall, like no games have been postponed because like the first half of the season, like multiple
Mhm.
games are moved.
Yeah, I was thinking it was gonna get canceled or
Yeah,
something.
and at one point you probably had to think about canceling, but so far, they're getting through the games and no postponement so far and so and stuff like that. So fingers crossed that they keep it that way. So, but overall, everyone's been doing a good job. Obviously, let's get to the Warriors, and it's not because of like
Mhm.
a 53-point loss that they had yesterday, which is not great. But I think this has kind of been the thing, the way things have been going for the Warriors like all season long. So, like, let me ask you this, man. Like, in terms of obviously with Clay getting hurt and so and stuff like that, and that changing the trajectory of where the Warriors are supposed to be. Like, where do you think the Warriors should be heading in that direction? And we talked about that. I think it was last week or a couple of weeks ago in terms of the direction that the Warriors should go. Like, what do you? And Draymond has some comments too about like obviously a play-in doesn't motivate him, and rightfully so because Draymond's been like I don't people I think a lot of people know that in that remember that game 7 of 2016 finals game
Yeah,
Draymond
yeah.
had like 32 and like had the
Hmm.
Warriors won Draymond would have been finals MVP because he had man that game for him was just he was having one of the best games of his career playoff
For
wise.
real.
That was he would have won Finals MVP had he it like where do you think what direction should the Warriors go considering obviously Clay's injury and like all the things that we have?
I mean, right now, I'm not really sure with them because it's really just health, like keeping their star players healthy. Like, I for sure don't think Curry's gonna leave. Clay's not gonna leave either, and Draymond are gonna stay there. So, uh, keeping the players healthy, bringing in some other good defenders, shooters, bench players, because like the players that they have right now, they could get better players for sure
There
to
were
help
reports
out Curry and stuff.
yeah, there were reports out there that they were trying to move Kelly Oubre. So that was
Oh, yeah,
really interesting to hear and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think you can label this as a disappointment because like
yeah,
I didn't have the word like had Clay not gotten hurt, like I think it would have been labeled as a disappointment, but also at the same time we also had to consider that Clay was coming off of a major injury. So like had Clay not gotten like the injury in the offseason and they still had a season like this, I would be a little disappointed. But
yeah,
obviously I wouldn't be that disappointed because like hey, Clay's coming off of a major injury and
yeah,
stuff like that. And also like they have a young team. A lot of their guys besides Steph, Draymond, like guys who've been there for almost a decade or so, stuff like that. Um, a lot of their guys are young. Like obviously you have James Wiseman, Nico Mannion, Jordan Poole, Eric Pascal. Obviously they shared away
hmm,
Brad Wanamaker. You have Wiseman. I think Kevon Looney. I think he's pretty young. I don't know how old he's right now. He's pretty young. Damian Lee, Nico Mannion, Jordan Poole. Like I don't know if I mentioned those. I think I already did mention those. Like they have a pretty young team. So like in terms of what they're gonna do, I don't know because like last year they were in the lottery, and in terms of this year, like it's too late for them to tank and so stuff like that. So they can't like even if they try doing that, I don't think they're gonna sit there. They're gonna be a top five pick like they
hmm,
had last year. But yeah, I mean, looking at it overall, I mean they're 28 in points per game, and they're last in offensive rating. Uh, they rank second to last in the league in field goal percentage and 3-point percentage. And like, obviously they're a top three team when it comes to free throw percentage. Obviously they average 25 assists a game, which is 10th in the NBA. And obviously considering the Warriors, and especially when they had KD in the past, like the Warriors, well, were always known for having like ball movement for the Warriors was never an issue, even with KD
hmm,
being there. Maybe a
yeah.
couple more possessions were given to KD for ISOs, but like there was never really an issue with that. But yeah, I think for the Warriors, I just think it's player development, and I think it's a lot of like I don't know what the Warriors should do because I don't think playing like like you go for a playing scenario and then you're probably gonna get bounced by like the Jazz or something like the first
Right.
round. So like are they do I think they're better than any of the top 7 teams right now? No. I think they're better than Memphis. No, Memphis is a good team with Ja and really we're just waiting for Jaren Jackson Jr. to come back. Like I don't I don't really, because if they go to the playoffs, like obviously they know first round, maybe 5 or 6 games they're going home. So, but obviously they can't tank at the same time because like they already had a top pick last year. So like I don't, they're kind of like in that middle spot position. It was kind of like, what do we do? And so do we prioritize development and just kind of like shut down the other guys for the rest of the season, or do we try to make a real push, considering the fact that Steph has had a lingering tailbone injury, and so he's been dealing with that. So it's going to be interesting to see where the Warriors go. I do think that now, obviously, look, they've had some up and downs, and Steph has had some unbelievable games. I mean, he's just been having one of those. He's having a season that's identical to his MVP season. I think it was a 73-9 MVP season, if I'm not mistaken. But like he's been playing spectacular. He's been playing well for the all year long. Just that he had that little tailbone injury, so that's kind of what you don't want. But I mean, 53, like they got beat by 53 years.
Yeah.
That is just embarrassing. That like it. Oh my god!
Yeah,
Like
it's pretty sad.
I mean, what were they doing out there yesterday? Like what?
Man.
It's wow. That it was just yeah. It was not good for the Warriors yesterday. It was not good. It was not good. And then obviously Mark Jackson was trending, and I think it was because of like, oh, this is Mark Jackson's team, and he built that team, and Mark Jackson never had a 50-point blow. And I think Steve Kerr, I think he's kind of getting exposed right now because remember in the past when they had KD and he didn't really have to coach as much, and now with KD being gone and then losing a couple of guys, like he's really gonna have to coach. Steve Kerr is getting a little bit exposed as a coach now because you didn't really have to coach with Steph, KD, and Clay and Draymond on the court.
Yeah, that's
those
true.
guys, maybe you can just hamper a couple plays and you can let them figure it out. But yeah, he's kind of getting exposed right now, and obviously Mark Jackson is trending and rightfully so. Mark Jackson built that team. Like Steve Kerr just came in and just won them a championship, but everyone knows that Mark Jackson was like the first person that like he was building like that team. So now, obviously, had he stayed there and they never gotten Steve Kerr, I don't know where. I don't know KD is there. I think Steph and Clay would still be where they are right now, which is two of the greatest shooters ever, and obviously Draymond, one of the great defensive players of this generation. But I don't know where. I don't know if they get in the championship. But I think they do get. Well, it's a lot of what ifs. Like, what if Steve Kerr doesn't get hired? What if they don't fire Mark Jackson and so on and stuff like that? So it would have been interesting to see had they just let Mark Jackson stay put where their ceiling would be. But I know, bro, it's like, what do you do, man? Because like you're in that middle spot. Like, what do you think they should do? Like, what do you think they should do?
I don't know, because you're not gonna go anywhere like if you go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you can't really get especially Curry that is already injured. Like you don't want him to get any worse. So why risk it?
Considering how great of a season, you can argue Steph should be in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually thinking he would be like top 5, top 3.
At one point, he was starting to get that way, considering how well he was playing. But the Warriors, obviously. Now, remember, I did say that there would be like multiple MVP candidates for this season, and rightfully so it has been. So like, I'm glad to see that. But yeah, well, who's your MVP right now? Like considering, because like MVP, like if the season ended today, who would be your MVP as well?
For me, I'd say like Jokic or Harden.
You gotta pick one. You gotta pick one.
Yeah, but I think I'll go with Harden. Like I like the way he's been playing, especially without KD and Kyrie most of the games. Like he's been leading that team, leading the league in assists and everything. So
I hate how people are saying that he changed this team. That is so
he's been playing like this every single season.
Oh my gosh!
Like
not everyone's been saying that. A lot of people who actually have been watching James Harden know that he's been doing this for past like nine years and so now. But it's so frustrating to hear like, he he's changing his ways and he's doing like, no, he's not. All he pretty much just said is that, yeah, you know what, I can get 30 or 40 a game. I'm just gonna pretty
Easily.
much gonna play make and just create for others, which is the stuff
Yeah.
that he did in Houston. So that's
Just the problem for Houston is that they didn't have like good shooters like they do now.
He didn't have a KD or now, like I said, no
Yeah.
disrespect to CP3 or Russ, but like he didn't have a KD or Kyrie on his team. I don't think he 2018 just that season is just gonna be painful for us as well.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously against the Warriors, teams are shooting like 39% from deep. It's second. They're like 20, 30 second chance points. They're 25th in fast break points. When it comes to points off returners, they're like 25th. So like, not only are they not great offensively, but defensively they're not great. They turn the ball over a lot. They don't get back on defense. They're not a great rebounding team. Like and I think Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre is interesting. Like, do you still buy into Andrew Wiggins, or do you think like he's just not?
I think he still got something in him.
So that's
like I wouldn't give up on him like just yet.
And I think Kelly Oubre too. I wouldn't be surprised if they let Kelly Oubre stay for another year. I think one of the executives talked about it. He was Bob. I think it was one of the Warriors. I don't know which one it was, but it was like Warriors, like associates and stuff like that. And so they said that Kelly Oubre, they are thinking about extending him and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised. Andrew Wiggins, Andrew, I think you can label him as a bust. Obviously, I think that he's been given that label, but I think he still has something. He can still resurrect a little bit of his career. I think he's still got something there. I mean, obviously, the Timberwolves gave him that ridiculous contract because it was not the Warriors. It was not the Warriors that gave him that contract. It was the Timberwolves that gave him that contract. He's getting paid $29 million this year. He'll get paid $31 million next year, $33 million the following year, and then he'll be another.
That's crazy.
So he getting that cheese too. So he getting this bag right now. Getting this bag. I think that's pretty much it. But yeah, Steve Kerr and some stuff like that. We'll see what happens next year. I think obviously Steve Kerr is getting exposed right now, and obviously Mark Jackson should be mentioned because Mark Jackson was the person that built that Warriors team from the bottom to considering where they were supposed to be. I think they were going to be a playoff team. It would have been really interesting to see where they would be right now had they not fired Mark Jackson. It would have been really interesting to see what would have happened.
Yeah, honestly.
But did you hear about JJ Redick's comments about like the Pelicans and so on, how they handle things and stuff like that?
Oh, I did not hear about that.
Yeah, you didn't hear about it? So pretty much what he said was about so it's about the Pelicans and how the Pelicans, they traded him to Dallas, and how they were dishonest and they weren't really, they weren't being honest with him, and how they lied to his face and so on, stuff like that. So, and like people were clowning him and stuff like that. So I listened to it, and I mean, look, is every player going to get the privilege of getting traded to the team that they want to be traded to? No, because I think it's a lot of status, and I think it's a lot of times like ego with these owners that are getting rid of you sooner rather than later. But yeah, he pretty much just said like he wanted to be closer with his family, and obviously, I wish Philly would have kept him. I think Philly regrets letting him go, considering the fact that they have Danny Green and Seth Curry now and some stuff like that. But I think Philly does regrets getting rid of him. But yeah, what he pretty much said was like he was too far from his family, and that if his family were to visit him, like they had to quarantine for a week, and they had to like miss a week of school just to see him. And he wanted his family was up there. I think it was in New Jersey. So he wanted to be in like Brooklyn or New York to be closer. Obviously, the Knicks didn't want him, and the Nets didn't want him. So I think he kind of was dealing with that and so on and stuff like that. And obviously, David Griffin um, told him that he's going to give him his word and he's going to trade into a situation that he liked. Obviously, he didn't because New Orleans and Dallas, he pretty much didn't go anywhere. Probably just a couple of hours of separation, but like,
Yeah, honestly.
yeah, the things that like the way it went down and so on. So, look, I think is every player going to have the privilege of like choosing what team they should go to? No, because I don't think that's just how it works. But also, I think it would have been maybe he should have just retired. Maybe retirement maybe was the best option. So I think he's in year 18. JJ Redick's been around for a long time, so I think he's in year 18 right now. But I mean, yeah. So what would you do though, man? If you were JJ Redick, like obviously with the Knicks and the Nets not giving him not offering to get him, like would you just retire then just to be with your kids? Because I think that would have probably been the best option for you.
Yeah, honestly, like if the thing is to get closer to your family, then you might as well. If there's no other situation that will get you closer to them, like
Yeah,
family comes first, and every
yeah,
time.
yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, and so
definitely,
yeah, and so I think I think that would have been the best option. Because I think that
yeah,
would have been the best option. Because like the Knicks have a lot of guards, so like he was not going to be, he was probably going to be there for the vet minimum. That would be like probably for $1 million or so. And then the Nets,
yeah,
considering the Nets and the moves that they made in the buyout market, trade with Harden, I don't think the Nets were going to give him a roster spot as well. So yeah, I mean, was it unfortunate what happened to him? I'm on JJ Redick's side. Like, I don't like what they did to him was not fair, but also that's the nature of the thing. Like, David Griffin, like, he has a young team with the Pelicans in his name. So he's kind of like, no, I will get everything that I can for you. So, because he didn't look
yeah,
at JJ like that, he kind of looked at him and kind of like, no, just he's going to trade, that's it. And I think they made a move with the Mavericks and they got back JJ Redick. The Pelicans got back two play. I think it was James Johnson and Iwundu, another player, and the Mavericks sent and the Pelicans sent them as JJ Redick and Nico Melli, two guys who can really shoot the ball and also space the floor for you. So yeah, I think if you're JJ
yeah,
Redick, like just I think it's been reported that he still hasn't been with the Mavericks yet. And I think considering how things went down with David Griffin, how they didn't keep his word. It's yeah. Yeah, I think okay, so they said that he attended practice, so he had his little intro. Okay. So yeah. And then he said like it was no disrespect to the Mavericks. Like considering how
yeah,
things went, like you and I look at it that way. Like he didn't mean no disrespect to the Mavericks. He didn't mean none of that. He just was kind of mad that like David Griffin did not keep his promise, and so therefore, he didn't instead of being closer with his family, he's farther away from his family. So
yeah. Makes sense.
yeah, it's unfortunate that things ended that way, but yeah, I wish maybe yeah yeah I wish though that he kind of would have maybe thought about signing with New York or Brooklyn sooner. I think that would have been rather than heading to New Orleans because
Yeah,
that would have been the better option, right? I think that probably would have been the better
yeah,
option.
for
Do you
sure.
think?
Yeah, honestly.
Considering the fact that it's pretty far, like you're getting from down here from Texas all the way up to up there in New Jersey. So
Yeah,
it's a pretty long flight. And then not only that, but like his kids had to quarantine, like his family had to quarantine for a week just to see him. I don't
yeah. No
you
semester
don't want to
school. Like,
you don't want to jeopardize like your kids' attendance and like whatever they miss and so stuff like that. So
yeah,
obviously the logical solution is kind of like, yeah, I'm not letting my kids miss. My kids have to miss a week of school just for them to see me, and just because I don't think he really wants this. But yeah, overall, I mean, but also he has a great opportunity. Obviously, Dallas is in a better position than where the Pelicans are. And that's no disrespect to the Pelicans. They're still a younger team, but I think Dallas' ceiling is a lot higher than where the Pelicans
mhm,
are right now. And I mean, you're playing with Luka Porzingis. I mean, you're gonna get plenty spacing. So I like the acquisition that Dallas got from spacing wise. I think it's really good for them. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, um, obviously, it wasn't the scenario that he wanted, but also I think it's the best scenario that he was going to get because New York had multiple guards. New York already, the Knicks already had a lot of guards, so like in terms of them getting him, like they would probably had to trade away probably D Rose and probably Michael Payton, and I don't think they wanted that for Brooklyn. I think they probably had
Yeah.
to trade maybe Claxton or Tyler Johnson, and then you have to get the contracts worked out. I don't think Brooklyn and the Knicks will really do this. So overall, that's pretty much it for today. Nice episode this time. It yeah, like I said, it's unfair how things went down, but it's the nature of the business. Like it's just how it is. Like we've seen guys like Harrison Barnes got traded like mid game, like at halftime, like he was with Dallas, and then there was a report that said like he got traded, and I was like, isn't he playing right now? Like he got traded during halftime in Sacramento. Like that's just how it is. Like I do think that the owners need to have a little bit more respect. I think yes, obviously, like no one's gonna be a LeBron or a Harden or a Curry or a Kyrie or Chris Paul or KD. Like no one's gonna be like that caliber or that status of a player. But I think players do deserve more respect. Like Andre Drummond had to
Yeah.
sit for 6 weeks just for Cleveland to find a partner to trade him or either agree to a buyout, which obviously they did. So like and obviously Al Horford. Like I don't know if you heard, but OKC shut down Al Horford for the rest of the
Yeah.
season just because his contract is so big. They're gonna try moving him in the offseason. So like that's just how it is sometimes. It's unfair, but that's the nature of the business. It's kind of like, there's no emotional ties. There's no
You don't
emotional
always
ties,
get what you
bro.
get.
Everyone or else the owners will never even think about trading their players. Everyone will just be attached to their player, but that's not how it works. That's the nature of the business overall. So, yeah, that was pretty much it for today. A quick episode, but overall. So, hey, All American, by the way, coming back on April 12th. It's going down right now. I don't know if you've seen the latest clip of it. Like they released like the promo. The name of the episode I think is Testify. And so it is going down. Like go watch the clips and so on and so forth.
All right.
Yeah, this is going down. Yeah, that's pretty much it today. Like this JJ Redick news, and so like he was getting a lot of backlash, and I'm like, dude, you don't need to. He doesn't need to receive that much criticism. He just has to be reminded that it's the nature of the business, and even guys like him are going to be traded. That's the only thing that I was going to do. Like, people were getting after him and so on. I'm like, dude, why y'all gotta, get after him and so on stuff like that? Like ESPN like went after him and so on stuff like that. It's kind of like I don't think they did not listen to the audio. Like I legitimately listened to the whole audio. Like it was like a 5-minute video on his podcast, and he specifically explained what happened and the events and the details that went down. Like he specifically talked about it. So then that's how things went down. You have to listen to the whole clip. Like you can't take away like they always like the media does this thing where like they're gonna take away one clip or they're gonna take away a quote. Oh, Katie said this. Oh, Kyrie said that.
Yeah, it's just how it is.
And that's like I fall victim to that sometimes. Like I always do that. It's kind of like he said what? And it's kind of like okay, then I had to listen to the whole thing. So
Yes.
overall, it's not fair, but it's how things. Yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I ain't got nothing else. Obviously, nice 4-day weekend going on. Technically speaking, it's supposed to be a 3-day weekend, but they gave Monday off. That's kind of nice.
Gotta catch up with the sleep.
The Rockets. But I mean, at least you had Kevin Porter Jr. Christian Wood got hurt again. I don't know if you saw yesterday, but he got hurt again. It's been one of those. So like they keep
one of those seasons, man.
like they keep talking about like tanking and taking. It's just I don't want to tank. Why do we have to tank? Why tank? Rockets never tank. But the year that James Harden asked for a trade and then leaves is the year that the Rockets used to play
Hey,
on.
it just shows you how much of an impact James Harden is. Man.
Had they kept, had it been Harden, Wall, Wood, they had a nice team. I think if James Harden was brought in, they had a nice team.
Yeah.
So they still probably would have made the playoffs, but he kind of knew.
Honestly, I think they would still make the playoffs with Harden in there.
Yeah, they still would make the playoffs, but
they wouldn't probably go that far. But
they're legitimate Rockets fans out there that think that we won the trade. Did you hear what the GM said? Raphael Stone. He said that he would do the Harden trade again. Like if he had the chance to do it, like he would do it again. Yeah, he said that.
Really?
Let me pull his comments. Let me see what he said. And I'm like, this is like, and he said like, yeah, I look at it like 2030, and Raphael Stone.
This is why we're in this position.
Let me see. Yeah, he said that if I had the opportunity to do that trade, I would for sure 100% do that deal again. But and he said like, and I told him that's like he pretty much said like the next 9 years. Bro, I don't think you're gonna be here for the next 3 years. I don't. He's already thinking long term, but it's kind of like, I don't think you're gonna be here. Like off of that Harden trade, that gets a GM fired. Like off of that trade, like they get to do fired. I'm kind of like, dude, what? You say you're gonna be here till 2030? He's not gonna be here till 2030. Like I'm surprised the Rockets did not even fire him after the trade that he did. Considering the fact that you could have probably gotten Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, Ben Simmons, and you probably could have gotten guys like that. And this year they're getting a top 5 pick. I think they have one of the best chances in the lottery to win. So it's either Kay Cunningham or Jalen Green. Evan Mobley, like you already have Christian Wood, so Evan Mobley kind of got to go to a donkey. Evan Mobley, I would have loved to see him with the Hornets because the Hornets needed a big. I don't know how, but the Hornets are going to. Did you hear about the news? Gordon Hayward is going to be out for 4 weeks.
Oh yeah, yes.
For 4 weeks, and then Melo's already out, so they're still a fun team though. They're still a fun team without Melo, but
yeah, for sure.
With Melo being there, they're gonna make the playoffs. So I think they'll be fun, especially you're in the East, so like they'll be fun. Yeah. But I think they're gonna beat anybody, crazy. I think they're gonna do something crazy, But yeah, I like the Hornets. They've been a fun team, obviously with Melo. Melo still got Rookie of the Month. Like they still gave him that award. So that kind of shows you, like, yeah, he's winning Rookie of the Year. Like, if it's not, he's gonna be 18 years, but like I lean it more. Yeah. Overall, that's pretty much it, though. Yeah. And then you got anything else in there?
No, I got nothing.
The World Cup is next year too. Oh, the Rockets are gonna waive Justin Patton, so the big, they're gonna waive him too. So probably not. Either he's gonna head down to the G League or maybe some team's gonna pick him up. I mean, he only played 13 games and he played a lot of minutes. Obviously, when Christian Wood was hurt, but I didn't see a lot of him. I think he has a lot of potential. I think he has a lot of potential. So maybe he got some
for sure
left, but. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this, considering the fact that I didn't really get to see him. Like Christian, the only reason why he was here was because Christian Wood got hurt. So. And also the Rockets, they waived Ben McLemore too. Ben McLemore, he's been around, but he hasn't been shooting the 3-ball well. Like he's had those
he just lost it.
games where he just one game. I think it was a game against the Timberwolves last week. I think he had like 8 threes, and he almost broke the record. Who has the record for the most threes in Rockets history? I'm testing you right now, your knowledge right now. Who has the most?
Bruh.
Come
I
on,
want to say
man. You're supposed to
I
know
want to I
this.
want I want to say James Harden, but
No,
I don't know. I honestly don't
you don't
know
know.
who
He played for the Rockets very long time ago.
is it. Calvin?
Nope.
I don't know.
Come on, man. How do you not know this?
Who is like? I swear if it's a bro.
This is disappointing.
Yeah, I can't think of
This is disappointing. In
it.
a game.
Yeah,
You don't know?
I I probably know. I just forgot about it.
I might be looking for the wrong person. Like, you don't know?
Who is it?
It's Chandler Parsons, right? Chandler Parsons had like 10 threes against Memphis.
Oh,
He broke the record. When was this, though? Oh, Rockets. I think it was in 2014 that he did it. Not my fault. He had 10 threes in one half.
gee.
And he broke the
Yeah,
record.
I don't remember watching that game. I don't think I even watched it.
Yeah, he set the Rockets franchise record. Robert Horry and Jeremy Lin both had 9 threes before that, but then he broke the record. Kenny Smith did that too, but Kenny Smith did that over multiple games. Like, legitimately, he has the record
Yeah.
for most threes in a game, and also he has the most points in one half. He had 30. And then Chandler Parsons.
Sheesh.
Nobody ever saw him again. I think he's out of the league now. He got hurt. Memphis gave him a bag though. Let me see his contract. I remember he got a bag from Memphis. Was it Memphis? Yeah, it was Memphis. 4-year, 94 mil. Woo!
94.
Yeah, they gave him a bag.
Jeez.
He got a bag from Memphis. But I think Memphis is almost I think he's out of the league, isn't he? Okay, but I think his contract is over. I think he retired probably. So, yeah, they gave him a contract. Yeah, the Grizzlies gave him like a 4-year, $94 million contract in 2016. They gave him a bag. Hey, they gave that man a bag.
Yeah.
He got a bag, man. So he went crazy. But that's crazy though. He had a lot of talent. I was still like a basketball casual. I didn't really know about the Rockets. I didn't really know
Yeah.
what Sparrow wanted to do, but like I heard about it. It's like, man, where was he? He was out the league, injuries, never really played. He was a good shooter at one point, but then, well, it is what it is. But hey, he can't deny though. He did get a bag. I mean, shoot, if you give him a 4-year, 94 mil, and I barely ain't playing, shoot. Everyone want 4-year, 94 mil.
Honestly, though.
Considering the fact that he is supposed to be really talented. I don't know where he was drafted, but considering where people were supposed to have him, I'm guessing he's probably like a first contact round pick. Yeah, that's pretty much it, though, man. We need like next week. The Rockets.